Today I'm going to be replacing the spark plugs on this 2017 Cadillac XT5. Here's the tools I'll be using: a 14mm socket to remove the spark plug, 10mm to remove the ignition coil bolt, and a flathead screwdriver just to help it pry open. This is silicone paste for the ignition coil tip, and brake lube for the thread sealant, the thread on the spark plug. Alright, the first thing you want to do is remove the intake manifold. I already did the video on that when I removed the thermostat, so go ahead and go watch that, how to remove the intake manifold and the little cover on top and with the throttle body tubing right here. Once you are done removing your intake manifold, this is how it's going to show. After that, we're going to remove our spark plug right here underneath these foam pads. You don't need to remove it all the way, but it's right under here. And here's the connector for the ignition coil. 1, 2, 3. And there's 3 in the back as well. You just have to lift this part up. And as you can see, there's the ignition coil right here. It's held down by a 10mm bolt. So now I'm going to get these spark plugs prepared. So I'm going to use the brake lube for the spark plug thread. Supply a little bit of it. Once you're done, go ahead and remove the old spark plug. So I'm going to remove the ignition coil connector. There's 3. Just pull back the red tab. Like that. And then you pinch at the end, and then you just pry it open. There you go. Or you just pull back like that. Then pull back this foam pad. And here is the ignition coil. It's held on by a 10mm bolt. You have 3 of them. I'm using a 14mm with a 3-inch extension. Since I don't have a spark plug remover tool, I'm going to use a magnet to pull up the spark plug. Alright, these spark plugs come pre-gapped, so you don't need to gap it. Hand tighten it first. Alright, now you're going to torque this down to 13 foot-pounds. Make sure to lube the ignition coil with silicone paste. Now put back the ignition coil. Put back the 10mm bolt. Torque it down to 89 inch-pounds, so about 7.4 foot-pounds. Don't over tighten this. Put back the foam pad. Reconnect the connectors. Snap it back in place and then push the red tab up. Now we're going to do the same for the back one. It's a little hard to see, but essentially it's the same thing. Here's the back ignition coil. I'm going to remove the connector in the back first, and then I'm going to get to the ignition coil bolt. For the ignition coil in the back, pull back on this red tab, press the black tab in the back here, and then squeeze and pull out. In order to lift this cover up, you have to remove this PCV hose. Go ahead and press the tab here and pull up. And then you can open this pad and be out of the way. Remove the 10mm bolt. Move the ignition coil. Now I'm going to remove the spark plugs. Remove the spark plugs. Put back the spark plug. Tighten back down. Torque it down to 13 foot-pounds. Lube the ignition coil tip. Now put it back. Tighten it down to 89 inch-pounds. Push back the ignition coil connector in the back. Don't forget the red tab to push it back in. And these two connector on top. And the PCV hose right here. Snap in place. Alright, after you're done putting in the spark plug, go ahead and put back the intake manifold. You could also follow our thermostat video on how to install it. Make sure, don't forget to remove the paper towel that's covered in the intake hole, so make sure to take that out before you install the intake manifold. And that's how you change the spark plug on this 2017 Cadillac XT5.